Oh, hey, what's going on? You know who this is. It's Tony. And guess what I'm bringing you this week? Best comic story arcs in comics. Comics, not movies. Now, before we get into this, I need you to hit the like button. I need you to subscribe to our channel, help keeping us grow. Now, without any further ado, let's get into 11 through 15. We're going to do that today. So, at 15, this is going to shock a lot of people. But again, my list, and I have to go with the Killing Joke. Now, why this was a great DC story. It was non-canon at first. Yeah, it kind of is. It still has to be low on the list just because of what I have on the list. I need you to understand that. Arguably the greatest Joker story ever told. The Joker in this book was way more evil, way more devious than anything that you have ever seen. We're not going to talk about him sitting on the throne of babies. We're not going to talk about him holding Gordon naked in the cage. We're not going to talk about him shooting and paralyzing Barbara Gordon. All that was done in this one story. Again, it has to be low just because of what's ahead of it. Now let's move on to the next one. Number 14, Days of Future Past. Arguably again, a great X-Men story. Again, do not go by the movie. I plead upon you, do not do that. It's so many different things about this that did go on in the movie. First of all, it wasn't Wolverine, it was Kitty Pryde who was in charge of going back to help get this timeline. Mutants and all these other people were being held in camps by sentinels. This is the story that we needed from Marvel, and we did not get. It alternated between the 1980s and the future dystopian future of 2013, which is kind of past now. We get a little bit past that. But again, Kitty Pryde is the X-Men featured in this story. Let's go on to one that I kind of started with. My number 13, Crisis on Infinite Earth. If you've seen my other videos, you know I have mentioned the AntiMonitor a couple times. Well, this is the story that introduced me to the level of threat that he actually is. And a couple things that stand out in this story. Some important people died. He killed a lot of Earths. He killed a lot of people. But the two that stuck out, the OG Supergirl, Kara Zor-El, and Barry Allen, both died in this arc. And not only that, but it kind of rebooted DC. They kind of started to get away from the multiverse, start to focus on one Earth, because this is where you got Power Girl from. Come to find out, she was from an alternate Earth. Now she's here. She was actually Wonder Woman on her Earth. She was Supergirl on her Earth, and now she's here. So it's a great story. Read it. It's an old one, so you got to go back. 1985. That's when comics, sat down. When you had the movies. Let's go to another one. Number 12, Old Man Logan. I also mentioned this in my other video of greatest comic book fights, but it's a lot more than that. The best thing that you would get out of this is you get a T-Rex with a Venom symbiote. That's all you need. That is the greatest thing to ever happen to comics that you did not know that you needed. A Venom T-Rex. Seriously though, in here, America has been conquered by Doom. It is broken up. Well, Red Skull, it is broken up into 4 areas. Each one has where the hero dies. So you have Pym Falls, Hank Pym. There's not a lot of heroes left. Wolverine, again, has sheathed his claws. He hasn't fought. He doesn't want to be fought. He has a family, and he lives out in the middle of nowhere. The Hulk is now gone mad with radiation, and he had relations with his cousin, and they have a gang of Hulks. Yeah, it's like, that alone is kind of like, yeah, this might be kind of interesting. Hawkeye is there, but he's blind. He's still a BA. That's just what he does. Read this book because they actually brought Old Man Logan into the main Marvel. They also made that wannabe Logan movie was based off of Old Man Logan. Again, we don't like those movies. Number 11, Batman, The Long Halloween. You know it's going to be on here. You know I'm going to talk about it. If you have went and seen the new Matt Reeves movie, The Batman, it takes some of The Long Halloween and put it in this movie. It is strictly a noir story. It's a young Batman trying to go out to find the killer called Holiday. Does certain things, certain people on holidays. That's what he does. He's not Calendar Man, totally different guy, but he goes to Calendar Man for advice on what he can do. I'm not going to give you spoilers because this is a story that you need to read. It does give you the iconic purple Catwoman suit. That alone is worth the read. Now, with that being said, let me shoot out some honorable mentions because it's been a lot of great storylines out there, and you cannot literally name them all in the time frame that we have. But a couple that I want to get out. House of M. If anybody who reads Marvel, they know Scarlet Witch is one of the most powerful mutants out there. And she proved this in this storyline with 3 words: no more mutants. Read the story and find out how the mutants lost all their power because of Wanda Maximoff. Another one I have to bring up is another Marvel story, Demon in a Bottle. This deals with Iron Man. Shout out to Will, because I know this is your guy. It focused on Iron Man at one of his lowest points. He was battling Justin Hammer for the industrial rights of contracts. He lost Stark International, and the biggest thing he was dealing with was alcoholism. In this story, Tony was a mess, and it showed. And the one thing about Marvel, they usually take real life and they put it into their comics. And this was one of the greatest stories that Iron Man has been in. I don't particularly like reading Iron Man, but I read this one. Another one, Teen Titans, Judas Contract. A lot of people believe that Deathstroke is a Batman villain. He's actually a Teen Titan villain that went to fight Batman a lot because he's more of a challenge, but he's with the Teen Titans. And in this story, they focus on the Teen Titans and the new join of Terra. She controls Earth. Of course, Beast Boy falls in love with her because that's what he does. Comes to find out, Terra works for Deathstroke. And she was in there to infiltrate and learn everything about the Titans so Deathstroke could beat up on the Titans and get rid of them for once and for all. 2 more quick. I just want to shout out Secret Wars. If you don't know about it, read it. That's where you get the black symbiote suit from. It's worth it. And the last one, All-Star Superman. It shows how powerful Superman really is when it kind of shows you his power scale. A lot of people are like, well, how strong is Superman? Well, he was bench pressing the earth for 4 days and only dropped a bead of sweat. So it kind of shows you how strong he is. So read that, and that'll do it. Make sure you check out my other videos to find out the other part of my list, and I will check you later.